Welcome to my top 20 power metal albums of all time. Get your swords out of their sheaths. Time to spear a dragon right through the gullet. It is time to breathe fire on all you posers, and let's talk about some power metal. Hoorah! The cringiest genre, according to Finn McKenty, but I love it. You know, I have no qualms in being cringe, as this whole channel is cringe, so fuck it. We're going to embrace the cringe and do top 20 power metal albums of all time, because it's one of the best genres, you know? I don't care, it's one of the best genres. It's up there with me. It's black metal, doom metal, and power metal. What a weird mix. You got really fast and evil, you got slow and kind of, you know, lumbering, and then you got epic fantasy shirtless man with a sword fighting a dragon. Couldn't get much more different, but this is a Patreon request as well, which I'm really thankful for, so thank you, Neo. We're going to be diving into some power metal, and let's get started with my top 20 power metal albums of all time, starting with Wuthering Heights, Far From the Madding Crowd. This one is a very recent one, actually. This is one I've been listening to quite recently, this band, and I fell in love. The vocals are so amazing. It reminds me a lot of the music of like Iron Maiden. Some of the chanting and the choruses, and the guitar is like, the guitar is so damn good. The melodies here, amazing. This is one of the most underrated power metal bands as well. Wuthering Heights is just not the Kate Bush song, but that's great as well. This needs listening. You know, if you like progressive power, you know, like Stratovarius, Symphony X, you need to check out Wuthering Heights, and this album especially is phenomenal. Probably raised higher on my list the more I listen, but because it's a recent listen actually, kicking myself that I haven't heard it before, it's making it here. Number 20. So good. Speaking of Symphony X, The Divine Wings of Tragedy is next. What an amazing progressive power metal album. Yeah, you could put it on just progressive, but it has power metal elements as well. And this album is flawless. That ending song, that's such a long song. They always end on some epics. My favourite is probably The Odyssey, but as a whole, I prefer this album. I feel like each individual song just works more on this album. And that final closer is just an epic album. Similar to the Wuthering Heights, you know, it's progressive power, so it has a lot of amazing guitar solos, soaring high vocals. That's kind of similar for a lot of power metal, but yeah, anyone who doesn't like Symphony X, they can get out the hall. Posers, leave the hall. Russell Allen's vocals are amazing. I love this album. So it's here. Next up is Numenor, Draconic Age. This is such a unique album and a unique band. Mixing like the kind of extreme metal and the power metal. You wouldn't afford it. Like blackened power metal. What is going on? You have guest spots from Hansi Kirch from Blind Guardian fame as well. Oh, amazing. Yeah, this band is just breath of fresh air in the genre. Really unique, really fun, and I like my European power metal. I like fantasy. This is something that appeals to me. My J.R.R. Tolkienisms are coming out. Numenor. Very good. Speaking of Hansi, Demons and Wizards. The album we'll go with is free, actually. A lot of people like the debut most. Fiddler on the Green. So good, and the second one's amazing as well. But I actually like the third one. I feel it's more heavy. The songs are more catchy, in my opinion. Walls of Winter, I loved it. It's one of my favourite albums when it came out. Love the pairing of Hansi and John Schaefer of Iced Earth fame, which you may see later on. I just feel like it's a fantastical project. And all three albums are flawless, and I love them all. But if I had to pick one, it would be the third one. Maybe controversial? I don't care, it's my list. Fuck you. Next up is Gamma Ray, Land of the Free. What an absolute classic that doesn't need to be said anymore. You know, the vocals on point. The kind of progressive power nature of it on point. The guitar's so good. Everything about this album is a classic. But yeah, Gamma Ray, Land of the Free, just nails it. Nails it on everything. Every single thing part of this album is flawless. It's one of the best. Yeah, what am I going to say? Gamma Ray, legendary. This album, legendary. Listen to it. Next up, Stratovarius. We talked about them before. The album Destiny. Yeah, that's right. Not Visions. I do like Visions quite a lot, but Destiny's probably my favourite. I feel like it's a bit more underrated, in my opinion. It's still up there. A lot of people either say like Visions or this one. But for me, yeah, this one takes the biscuit. I mean, starting off with a 10-minute epic Destiny already just cements it. It's like, yeah, you kick it off with a 10-minute song. We're POWEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeee amazing. Everything, the artwork, beautiful too. You know, Stratovarius, one of the bands as well in power metal that it's a classic. It's like Gamma Ray, it's like Blind Guardian, Iced-Earth, you all know them. It's got to be on this list somewhere. It's right here. Orden Ogan is next. Such a weird band name that I always confuse with Odin Organ, and I'm kind of like, what? I never know how to say it, but Gunmen! What an amazing album Gunmen is. I saw them live, and they played a lot of songs from this album, and I was so happy. It's such a fun, energetic band. I love these power metal bands for the reason that they're just, the crowd sing along. It's like epic and just fun. Super fun, and Orden Ogan is just one of those fun bands that you just want to sing along to. Kind of like some others we'll mention in a second, but very underrated, and I love them to pieces. Sonata Arctica is next with The Days of Grace. Oh, where's Ecliptica? Where's Silence and stuff? I love them as well, but this album is the first album I got into, one of my first power metal albums I ever listened to, and I loved it. I don't know what to say. There's something about this album that I just really love. Maybe I'm in the minority. I'm a minotaur. I'm in the minority on this one, but just the songs just sing to me more on this album, and they have a lot of great albums, and I'll do a ranking of them soon, don't worry. But I love The Last Days of Grace. Flag in the Ground. Ooh, yeah. It's a great album. Absolutely flawless. So, yeah. This is my hot take. I love this album. Next up is Savage Circus, Dreamland Manor. This album is very unique and very fun. The vocal style really reminds me of Hansi, and it's kind of German/Swedish power metal, but you know me, I love Blind Guardian a lot. Spoiler alert. And the fact that this sounds so similar in a lot of the songs to Blind Guardian just makes me love it more. You know, vocalists very similar. The actual songs themselves, like the choruses and stuff, very similar. So I like Savage Circus a lot. I don't have a lot of albums. Admittedly, don't have a lot of albums, but really fun band, and Dreamland Manor is just a flawless album, so it's here. Hey, we talked about Iced-Earth, and something wicked this way comes. This album is it's probably the most power metal-y album of the catalogue. The early stuff I love, Dante's Inferno, Night of the Storm Rider, thrashy, evil, fantastic, but this is the album where it comes through with the power metal side of it, where the soaring choruses, sing-along parts, and it's just majestic. Beautiful ballads as well. This album has everything. I know it's cliche to put this one on, but it is my favourite, so I'm not going to not put it on just because it's the classic, you know what I mean? I love it. It's here. Deal with it. Next up, Dragonland, Astreonomy. Dragonland is a very fun band as well, and from the name you expect it to be super cheesy, but it isn't. It isn't. It's great. The guitar is amazing. The singing is beautiful. Cool guest spots as well, female vocals, and this album as a whole, very kind of astronomical, you should say. You know what I mean? Kind of a spacey vibe. Ooh, pestilence. Put it down. Put the pitchforks down. But yeah, I love it to pieces. It's one of the best bands around, and very underrated as well. Dragonland, been around for a while. I like every album, but Astreonomy just happens to be my favourite. Hey, Lost Horizon. I forgot the name of the album. A Flame to the Ground Beneath. The one with the shitty album cover, the blue, and it looks like they're getting sucked into a Final Destination hole. They get the guts sucked out from their assholes. This album is flawless. When someone says power metal, you hand them a copy of Lost Horizon. Could be any of their albums, but this one is the best, in my opinion. It's just got everything you can need. Everything. It is the perfect power metal album. It should be my number one, but there's just ones that I have a stronger connection with, but for actual technicality and like just memorability, this album is just top of the goddamn iceberg. It's so good. It's so good. It needs to be listened to be believed. So Lost Horizon, go listen to both the amazing albums and you will not be sorry, basically. It's a classic. Virgin Steel is next. The Marriage of Heaven and Hell Part 1. There's a lot of albums by Virgin Steel I could pick. House of Atreus is great as well, and Part 2 of both of them, amazing. But this album for me, it's just the best. It has the heart and soul, and the ballads, and the beautiful singing is just, it hits me right in the heart. Such an epic album, such a thoughtful and moving album, and Virgin Steel is very underrated. So, any video we can talk about them is a good video, but this, Marriage in Heaven and Hell Part 1, always was my favourite and always is. Hey, Powerwolf time! Sacrament of Sin, a lot of people will kind of scream, it's not real power metal. Shut the fuck up. Powerwolf's great, love every single album they've done. Live, they blow it away, like, oh my god, everyone's singing every single song. But, I know I've done a ranking before and this wasn't number 1, but it is now. Every single song on it is just amazing. Incense and Iron is just a banger, and you can't tell me otherwise. Powerwolf is just so good. A lot of people talk shit about Sabaton. I like Sabaton, but I feel like Powerwolf just does that style and sound better. And also, werewolves are cooler than tanks. Hashtag not fairy. Yeah, I love Powerwolf, and I love this album. Sacrament of Sin is a bloody banger, and it's here. Angra is next, the Brazilian power metal band Angra with Temple of Shadows. Yeah, they have different singers and stuff. The early stuff I love, Land of the Free, could be... Not Land of the Free. What the fuck are you talking about? That's Gamma Ray, you dickhead. Angels Cry. That could be here as well. Love that album, but I feel like once they changed vocalists, like Rebirth onwards, it was just better. You know, it was just better. Rebirth could easily be here. But no, something about Temple of Shadows that has this moody energy, this heavier style, and just every song hits. Temple of Shadows is just the perfect Angra album, and it will never be beaten. So, yeah, Angra. Give some Brazilian love here. Temple of Shadows. Next up is Camelot with Epica. Two great bands as well. Epica, one of my favourite bands of all time. But I don't consider them power. I consider them progressive metal. So I put them in progressive, but Camelot definitely power. And Epica is just such an amazing album. It's a journey all the way through. I love albums like Epica and Karma. Ooh, The Fourth Legacy. Those albums are just flawless. Black Halo's amazing as well. Great vocals, great atmosphere, great just theatrics Camelot has. So, yeah, they're making it onto this list. I don't care. Camelot's great. Manowar, living on the road. Manowar. Kings of Metal by Manowar. I could easily put Hail to England. I did have Hail to England here first, then I changed it. I know when I did a ranking, Fighting the World was top, but nowadays, it's good. Oh no, it's more than good, it's amazing. Black Wind, Fire and Steel. I'm going to be jerking off Manowar. Okay, we're talking about Kings of Metal. Starting off, that fucking guitar is so goddamn good, and then Kings of Metal coming to town. Every single song on this album is just flawless. I love it. I love it. It's an amazing album. On the album cover, you can tell what it's going to be. Complete macho bullshit. Fucking balls to the wall. Slay some dragons. Get some girls. That's the way to do it. And they do it the best. You know? They do it the best. Of course, Helloween's got to be here. The actual classics themselves. Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 / Jericho. I really want to put the Walls of Jericho here as well. I'm this fucking close to putting the Walls of Jericho here instead, but fine. Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 is technically my favourite, but it's really hard. A lot of people say number 2. I like number 2, but there's a certain song that I'm not a big fan of. And try and guess which one. There's a song that I'm just kind of like, it's a bit, just not big into it. Whereas Part 1 has just banger after banger. And then the actual song, Helloween, what a fucking classic. Amazing album from start to finish. Love it. If you don't have this on, if you don't have Helloween at all on a ranking list, then something's wrong. I could easily put Dark Ride, because the Dark Ride is in my top 3, I'm pretty sure, as well. I love that album. But yeah, Helloween joking off aside, Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 is going to be here. So that's it. The next 2 is my last 2. Ooh, number 2 is Rhapsody of Fire, or Rhapsody, or whatever they want to go by nowadays. The album is Legendary Tales, Land of Immortals. What a classic from start to finish. I could easily put Frozen Tears of Angels. I love that song. With a dun 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 Reign of Terror. Whew. I could easily put Symphony of Enchanted Lands. I could easily put fucking Victory, whatever the fuck it's called. I've forgotten the name of it. The guy. It was my favourite in the ranking. I've forgotten the name of it. Any album. You throw any album on, Rhapsody of Fire, they are amazing. Triumph and Agony. But Legendary Tales just has this classic, like, folky kind of atmosphere and style, and just every song on it just takes you away to a magical land, and that's why Rhapsody of Fire is one of my favourite bands of all time. The neoclassical kind of guitar as well, the operatic vocals, it hits the nail on the head every single time. One of the best of all time, but it's not my favourite. My favourite is, of course, Blind Fucking Guardian. Which album? Somewhere Far Beyond. This flips a lot. You know, I had it as my favourite first time. Second time I put Nightfall in Middle-earth. Now it's back to Somewhere Far Beyond because it's just a flawless album. Flawless album. You know, Hobbit song, The Forest. Oh, come on. Forest song's so good. And then the title track, Somewhere Far Beyond. Somewhere Far Beyond is just the bagpipe solo. Blows my mind every single time. Adore this album. It's one of the best of all time. Not just power metal, in general. I love it. 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 I like it a lot. Yeah? It's 10 out of 10. It's a flawless album. I love it to pieces. Imaginations through the other... So many Blind Guardian albums I could throw here. Even The God Machine. Bloody amazing. But Somewhere Far Beyond takes the crown for my favourite power metal album of all time. Whew, big list. Lots of great stuff there. I did miss loads of. Where's Gravedigger? Where's Running Wild? Where's Omen? There's a lot of American bands, like Manila Road. I'm just literally ignoring all the American bands. There's some here, Virgin Steel, but I'm more into the European power because it's more fantastical, symphonic, bombastic, and very gay. It's very gay, but I love it. Whereas the American stuff's more into speed and power and stuff like that. Stuff like Iced Earth, early Iced Earth, which is also great. Love that as well, but I can only do 20. I can't do 50. So if we wanted a top 50, they'd all be in there. So let me know down below your top 20 of all time. Hopefully you had some fun, and we'll see you again on another Quest for Metal.